Gentlelady from California, Ms. Capps, recognized 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Chairman Jaczko, thank you to you and to all the commissioners for appearing for this hearing today. Chairman, it's been over a month since I requested the NRC to stay the license renewal application for Diablo Canyon and to work with California oversight experts to review new seismic information and mapping. Can you explain why the NRC has not answered my request?
We currently have in front of the Commission a broad request in these formal licensing hearings for the Commission to take an action similar to the action that you've requested. The Commission is working on that.
Excuse me. When could I and my constituents expect an answer to my letter?
The Commission is working to try and get this issue resolved, but I would expect it's going to be at least a month before we'll have some resolution on that broader question of the hearing process. But we certainly have it in front of us, and we're working to give you a good answer.
Thank you.
As we have it.
I wanted to ask you about the current relicensing process. It is focused entirely, it's my understanding, on identifying and managing the detrimental effects of aging plants and facilities, not on reevaluating the threats that formed the basis of the plant's original design. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Now, our understanding of seismic threats has improved dramatically since most nuclear power plants were originally designed and licensed 30 or more years ago. And on top of that, we are now tragically learning lessons from Japan. The one thing we have learned loud and clear is that seismic issues must be thoroughly examined and incorporated in all design, construction, and operating phases of nuclear power. I appreciate that the NRC continuously reviews threats, but as you know, in California, researchers have found new faults close to Diablo Canyon, and it would follow that, based on that plus what happened in Japan, that this information should be considered in the relicensing process, just as it would be in the licensing of a new nuclear power plant. And I remind you of the history of the nuclear plant at Diablo Canyon, when, as they originally were building it, they discovered the Hoskree fault offshore, had to stop, redesign it to the cost of billions of dollars to ratepayers, and adjust it based on that new discovery. So my question, does the NRC have plans to examine seismic hazards of nuclear power plants' design basis within the scope of their relicensing process?
Well, currently, as you indicated, the relicensing process is focused on the aging management programs. If there ever were to develop information about new seismic information, much as has occurred with Diablo Canyon with the shoreline fault, we take that information and we process that immediately. And we are currently reviewing the analysis that's been done by PG&E with regard to the shoreline fault. So we don't wait for the relicensing for that action to be taken.
Well, for example, last month, the NRC's Region 4 staff was asked by the California legislature if they would withhold releasing their environmental impact report for license renewal at Diablo Canyon, and the answer was no. The fact is that my constituents want the NRC to immediately stay the license renewal application for Diablo Canyon. They want you to work with experts within my state to update seismic data and mapping for a reactor site that lies within 5 kilometers of 4 active earthquake faults. We have time. This licensing is not due, relicensing is not due until 2025. And I want it entered into the record, if I may ask, the response of the USGS to the California Energy Commission when they inquired as to the state of seismic research. And I want to quote one sentence here. Given our current, this is USGS, given our current state of knowledge, we cannot rule out the possibility of a rupture on the shoreline fault triggering a rupture on the Hoskree fault or vice versa. In my opinion, this begs for the use of 3D high-resolution studies to be done, and even though PG&E says they are doing them, they are not asking for a stay in the process. They want this to continue. The bottom line is, for the confidence of my constituents, and I believe for the American people, in the fact that we do want clean energy that nuclear power can give us. I'm not asking for a shutdown of the facility, but that these questions could be answered before the relicensing is proceeding any further. because the situation in Japan looms so large on my conscience, and that we have a responsibility in the federal government to make sure that there is confidence that the kind of energy we are seeking from nuclear facilities can be done so in an extremely safe matter. I don't want us to look back on some, God forbid, horrific situation either at San Onofre or Diablo Canyon and say we had time. I can only imagine what the Japanese people are saying now following that tragedy. And we have an opportunity to use the latest, I'm sorry, you're having to hear from my strong feelings here, that the desire of my constituents and I believe the American people to have the latest of technology, 3D studies done by an independent third party, has every right to be fully examined before the licensing process is pushed any further. That was the substance of my letter to you, and I'm using this time now to underscore the importance of that for, I believe, for our energy policy in this country, but certainly for my constituents. And I yield back.